Welcome to
Oh,
the Jim
there we are.
Acosta Show. Donald Trump and his allies are doing everything they can to keep the Epstein files from coming out. Trump is also cracking down on his perceived enemies, trying to crush free speech in this country. But Trump was not able to stop Jimmy Kimmel from coming back to the airwaves. Here with me to talk about this is Billy Bush, who has had a very long career in television, has followed the entertainment industry for some time now. Obviously, we all know who Billy Bush is, and it's great to see you, man. Thanks for coming on.
Jim, thank you, man. I really appreciate the space here and having me with you.
I looked at the Google and I noticed you and I are just about the exact same age, and we grew up with Atari and all that stuff. And I figured, between the two of us, we'd be able to get this, on time and everything. But it didn't quite work out that way. But we're here now. It's all good. So I guess first of all, this is my first time talking to you. There's lots of different places to start. I think first and foremost, you're in Hollywood, I guess. You're in LA, or where are you these days?
Yeah, yeah. In Los Angeles, have been for 21 years, minus that beautiful 2 weeks in New York at the Today Show. I mean, two
Very
months.
2 months, yeah. And I mean, obviously, Hollywood is a buzz. The whole world has been talking about what took place with Jimmy Kimmel this week. What was your big takeaway from all of that? How that went down? Because I mean, you're looking at the ratings. We're looking at the rate. 6.26 million people tuned in as Kimmel made his comeback, and it was a huge egg on the face for ABC and Disney.
Yeah, I mean, they were scrambling over the weekend with meetings with Dana Walden, the head of television, Bob Iger. I mean, this goes all the way up to Bob and Rob Mills, who's in charge of late night television, and Jimmy's manager and lawyer. Soon as this thing went down, I think they were like, shit.
Yeah,
Ah, whoa, 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 whoa. We got to get this. We got to get him back and
yeah,
quickly. And you'll notice the negotiations went in favor of Jimmy because
yeah,
he didn't apologize at all. He explained, he clarified. And sometimes, in the last several years, Jim, in the cancel culture thing, people are, where's the apology? You have to apologize. There's the great pressure to fall on the sword. He had no reason to apologize here. And, ABC was smart to say, okay, forget it. Let him clarify. That's the best they're going to get because there was a mistake. People rushed to take what he said literally. I think Jimmy could have done a better job of saying what he said, but
yeah.
what he said was clearly that MAGA was more concerned with pinning the blame on the other side than the
Exactly.
grieving process and the whole thing. That's what he said. What he didn't say is, oh, this guy's, clearly MAGA and they're trying to get rid of him. I mean, even Jimmy
Right.
he'd have to be an idiot to think that.
Right.
Um, so that's just the nuance there. And so I think he could have avoided the whole thing because if you look at across the pantheon of Jimmy Kimmel comments about the president, this one doesn't even come into the top 20.
Right. Exactly. And I thought the way Jimmy came back was perfect. I think he had some jokes there.
It's
The bit with De Niro was great, but he was
great.
just spot on about how a comedy show is not what's important here. What's important here is that we have the right to free speech in this country. And I'm just in all your years covering Hollywood, have you ever seen a situation like this?
I mean, I know, I've seen situations of nervous advertisers. I mean,
Yeah.
linear television is still very scared.
Yeah.
The way linear television works now is, he who shrinks the slowest wins. And, so they're constantly worried about, and, say what you want for them, but Nexstar Media Group handles a lot of stations. They have 32 ABC stations, one of them
Yeah.
being in Salt Lake, which is a pretty big station for them. KTVX, ABC4 in Salt Lake is a big one, fairly, highly Mormon population, very conservative market. So obviously this is where that all went down. They're nervous there. They have the right to say we're pulling off Jimmy tonight for our own reasons. We're not doing it. They're affiliates. They can do what they want.
Yeah.
So
It's pretty rotten
yeah,
though that Brendan Carr, the chairman of the FCC, is basically he's encouraging these station groups to rebel against the networks, against TV programs that the administration doesn't like. And And, it's pretty extraordinary to me that he has this much power now. I mean, the way he was talking the other day, we can do this the easy way or the hard way to Disney. I mean,
And he maintains that he's
yeah,
totally, this is completely independent of the administration. Does anyone believe that? Does anyone
yeah,
believe that, Trump's get me Brendan Carr right now, and he's blasting away and let's go.
right.
He is uniquely obsessed with late night comics. It's
Yeah,
even Joe Rogan, who's I would say more libertarian than conservative, was like, "What is the deal with the obsession with the late night comics? Like he cannot let them go. They
yeah,
get under his skin in a major way. He wants them to love and adore him and make fun evenly. But these guys have long tenure and they have earned the right to kind of do what they want.
yeah, but it's
So,
bullshit. I mean, Jay Leno, you and I both remember Jay Leno used to go after Bill Clinton every night on
oh
Monica
yeah.
Lewinsky and all that stuff. I mean, this comes with the territory.
Well, we've never seen,
Yeah,
presidents have always taken their shots. I mean, I'm
yeah,
related to two of them, Jim. They
yeah,
got, they got made fun of all the time. George W. and his strategery and all that. I mean, they used to
right.
pound on him, and what's he going to do? Call the FCC and be like, "Don't let them say strategery again." I'm,
Yeah,
it's part of the territory.
yeah,
But he can't seem to handle it. So he's like, I mean, look at the most recent statement. As soon as they returned Jimmy, he gets out there and he says, "Hey, we're going to have to look at this from another angle." He's already
right.
positioning another move at Disney, like not letting it go.
And have you ever seen us? I mean, not to keep asking that question the same way, but I mean, the way he is going after these networks, suing these networks, CBS, ABC, these huge lawsuits. I mean, I've described it on my show as he's cracked the code on how to hurt the media in this country and how to bend it to its will. He's been successful at it. You have to admit it.
Oh my God. I mean,
Yeah.
ABC has paid, 15 million. CBS has paid 16 million. Wall Street
Yeah.
Journal looks like they're holding the line and they're not going to pay for a thing. And same with the New York Times. They're fighting. Good for them. But the two networks coughed them up very quickly. And Trump even said in his statement, "Boy, this is that. I think this next one will be even more
Right.
lucrative. Lucrative, not punitive,
Yeah.
not fair.
Oh, he said that to John
Lucrative."
Carl. He said that to John Carl the other day. When he got in John Carl's face and was going after John Carl, he was saying, accusing him of hate speech and so on, and saying your network paid me $16 million. He didn't say paid my presidential library or any of those things. He said paid me. So he has made this very personal. Obviously, I mean that's what this is all about. You
He
can't take
is
a joke.
absolutely.
Yeah.
He is uniquely obsessed. And if there's one thing, uh, I'm able to. I'm a very moderate guy, and I'm
Yeah.
very able to see where things are. Like, I was just played in this tournament, golf tournament with some Irishmen, and they're like, he's not as hated over here as you think because we have real immigration problems, and what he's done over there, a lot of people are like, "Wow, wish we had the stones to do that." Or so there's an example of like where but in this particular space, when it comes to free speech or speech, anti-Trump speech, it's about as authoritarian as I mean, it's becoming more and more. It's looking like China.
Yeah.
It's looking like North Korea. I mean, he wants state television or approved television.
Yeah, totally out of control. And they're achieving some of this through cancel culture, which I would be remiss, I would be ignoring the elephant in the room if I didn't say, Billy, you went through this. You were canceled there for a while.
Jim, the thing is, I wasn't canceled for speech. I was
Yeah,
canceled for ears, for hearing,
yeah,
for being present while something was said. I mean, I
yeah,
think I was canceled for how dare you not say something, Billy Bush. Billy Bush of
yeah,
Access Hollywood. We count on you, the Mother
right.
Teresa of entertainment news, to stand up and do something. And I didn't. And I kind of survived the scene with him. But yeah, now, Jim, if I'm honest, there was a few other things going on at the Today Show, and an old guard that didn't want the new guy from Access Hollywood there in the first place. So there was some inner politics, but at the
Yeah,
same time, yeah, that was an extreme example. I call it ground zero of
yeah.
uh, of cancel culture. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you could see some of the comments coming in. I mean, one of the things that we should talk about when it comes to the Access Hollywood tape, I remember when I was covering the 2016 campaign, I said, because I was the main correspondent covering Donald Trump at that time, I said, this is the end of his campaign. The
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
that he said, I said, there's just no way he can come back from this and win. I was wrong. There's no question about it. Um, but when you think about that day, and the stuff that is said on this video, and you seem to be laughing along with what he's saying and so on, and I know you regret that. Obviously you regret that. What goes through your mind? What are your thoughts going back to that day? Not that you want to spend a whole lot of time thinking about that, but I mean
Yeah.
it's a moment that I think every American remembers. Just about every American.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no one more than me.
yeah,
Yeah, Jim, look, I try to keep 2 feet in the future,
yeah,
but, when I think about it, I think, yeah, it was an off-camera moment. Was it my greatest moment of character? No. Did it if it was on the air and going out to young ears somewhere, I would have obviously handled it differently. But when you're dealing with Donald Trump, a lot comes your way. It's never, hey, Billy, how's the wife and kids? How's the family? It's just you take the asteroids as they come and you do the best with it, what you can.
yeah,
And I chose to just laugh this one off and try to keep going. I never said anything myself out of my mouth of which I am ashamed.
yeah.
Nothing, not one thing. So, did I not police the point better? Uh, if you want to say that I failed in that regard, you have every right.
Yeah. And if you could go back to that day, do you wish you could have said to him,
I wish I
Jesus?
changed the topic, Jim, because,
Yeah,
at that point, remember, the network that raised Donald Trump is NBC. They raised him. They made The Apprentice. They turned him into this great deal maker that the country saw as the guy we need as president. They created him in a laboratory. My job was he was also the highest earning primetime star that they had due to the low cost of reality television compared to scripted. So he was a real piece of business for them. I'll tell you what, had that tape gotten out when he was hot for them and they were
yeah,
hot for him, I would have been fired for a completely different reason. That's our cash cow, Bush. How did that get later
yeah.
on, 11 years later, a month before an election, NBC News puts it out themselves. I'll say allegedly just for your sake, but not for mine. I could give a shit. Um, and there's the October surprise. And in the end, it doesn't do anything to him.
And I'm just looking at the transcript of what he said that day. He said something about they're talking about furniture. She wanted to get some furniture. I said, I'll show you where they have some nice furniture. And then he goes, I moved on her like a bitch. I couldn't get there and she was married. And of course, he says the part about, um, I just start kissing them. It's like a magnet, just kiss. I don't even wait. When you're a star, they let you do it. And then he says, grab them
He
by the
doubled
pussy.
down on that in the
Yeah,
E.G.
grab
and
them by the
Carroll
pussy.
deposition.
Yeah. And at that moment, to me, I don't know how you recover from that as a politician. It is one of the most disgusting things I can think of. And I guess at that time he wasn't a politician. He's an entertainer, but when it comes out, he's a politician. I don't know how he recovers from that. But what
I
was going
think
through your mind when you
because,
heard that?
well, my explanation for that
Yeah,
is as as many moral issues people can have moral issues with Donald Trump, but the thing about him is he's never really pretended to be someone else. It's kind of like that. It's hard to act too surprised that he's I mean, if you just look at we've got Stormy Daniels, there's a whole litany of things that he has said. So when it comes to that, he has this affordability that no one else has that, okay, doesn't matter. We know that about him. It's not like when we found out something about Tiger Woods, right? We're like, oh my God, we thought he was a staple of the community and
yeah,
holy crap, he's doing all these things and that. And you're like, oh, with Donald,
right.
it's like, there's another thing. I mean, it's like,
Yeah,
it's not, You know what I mean?
Did you hear him say anything else that of this nature that was not on the tape that you could
No,
recall?
they
This was
believe
the one
me.
and
And
only time you heard him
let me
talk
tell
about
you
it.
something.
Yeah.
NBC put out an APB for all tapes. When this came out, it was because a contestant in a Miss Universe pageant had said, Donald Trump has said terrible things about me. And he said, I never talk like that at all. And then NBC sent out to all their divisions, look for your tapes. Now, the ones they wanted belonged to Mark Burnett and are in a vault somewhere in Idaho. And those are all the outtakes from the Apprentice set. But someone at Access Hollywood said, oh, wait a minute. We have that thing from 11 years ago. What about that? Didn't he say something about furniture buying and all this stuff? And wait. So then they took
Mm.
that and sent it to NBC News, hoping to, Access Hollywood, the little, the tiniest little division of NBC News that's not even recognized. Like, look what we did. We've got the thing. And they went,
Yeah.
oh, you've done so great. Here we go. And then they had it. And that's how it came to light, and they scoured that and scoured everything else in every drawer that they could find anything on him, and that was
Yeah.
deemed enough, and it wasn't.
Yeah. But you don't go back and think about that and say, "What the fuck was I thinking? I should have told him,"
Jim, I'm gonna be
I
very
should have said,
honest,
"What the fuck is wrong with you?" or something like, who grabs women by the pussy and
because
brags about it?
because because, Jim, there is no way on God's green earth I can take a human being seriously when they're saying that. Not one as boorish as this, especially
Yeah.
this is a caricature of a human. He says something like that. I'm like, well, that's obviously not true because not even the worst person in the world does something like that.
Yeah.
If I thought
But
that
because he
it
has
was
the most successful TV show, in America around that time, right? And so to
he
me.
demanded a renegotiation after the first
Yeah.
season of that show, Jim. He demanded it with Jeff Immelt, the chairman of
Yeah.
GE. Like he wouldn't even talk to Jeff Zucker about the renegotiation. I want to see Jeff Immelt. And so he
Yeah.
demanded the lunch, and Jeff Immelt did it with him, gave in to Donald Trump. Everybody gave in to Donald Trump. The entire 52nd floor of NBC was kissing his $100 million a year in profit ass.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Wow. So NBC enabled this is
100%. They built him. They created him like Frankenstein in a lab. And they made him the deal maker and the guy that could you know, fix the world, a great businessman. That's what we need. He's going to make us rich. Here we go.
yeah. And he's been
And
using
so
that
that's,
bullshit persona ever since. And
but then 11 years later, it's a different story. Now he's filed suit against them for the Miss Universe. And, no great business relationship ends well. And so NBC is no different than Merv Griffin or Trump's whatever the steak company was that made the steaks, and the vodka
it's
company that made the vodka, and the
right.
university, whoever.
No, I know. And he was a failed casino operator and, Trump Tower, even back in 2006, I can't imagine it looked that good back then. It looked pretty shitty when I covered it in 2016 and I would go in there. I mean, to me, it was like The Apprentice was this fictitious bullshit thing that enabled him to have this image before the American people of this successful business guy. And it was all built on a reality TV hoax.
He was that boardroom was great. When the show started, the boardroom was the last 15 minutes. By the time the show was in its heyday, the boardroom was about 45 minutes, and the challenges were 20 minutes or something, and it
Yeah.
was mostly him pitting people against each other. Brett Michaels of Poison. Can you believe that Candy, the playmate,
Right.
said this about you? I can't believe it. Don't you think that's a terrible thing that she said about you? You should probably not take that. And, he's just pitting people in these great fights, which is a great talent of his. Now,
Yeah.
at the risk of being very unpopular with your viewers, I'm going to say back in the day, in 2005, when I am a reporter for Access Hollywood, and he is the Trumpster of The Apprentice. I find him to be so. I don't mind a rogue. I don't mind a dirty humor, funny, but And I
Yeah.
thought he was incredibly entertaining. He was very good at the medium. He was. I mean, they were having him at SNL and the skits he was doing at the Emmys, and he was a dog,
And
but
does
he
that
was
explain why
funny
you were I mean, and so does that explain why you were laughing along, why you were kinda I mean, I don't know if
because you
egging him
want to
on
get
is
to
the
the
right
next
word,
thing,
but
Jim.
yeah.
these are inside baseball things, but like,
Yeah.
I'm looking out a window, looking at a camera crew and a producer ready to film the arrival. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. The
Right.
first time that I remember recalling those words, the famous words, I heard them in the general manager of the Today Show's office 5 days before they suspended me and then ultimately fired me. I'd never registered them. Always about the furniture buying because it was my friend Nancy O'Dell. So
It just flew
when I
past you.
heard him, I went, "Oh my God!" And I heard it because when it happened in 2005, I'm looking out the window. Okay, producer's there. Where's the person he's greeting? Oh shoot, are we in place? Is everything
Yeah.
good? He's
Wow.
doing him. He's running on and on. And he's always very savvy. I mean, if
And
he
I'm
knew.
sure there are women who will never think that that is true and will say and men too who will say, "Oh, come on, Billy."
I don't give a shit, Jim. I know
Yeah.
what's true. Honestly, I know what's true, and I don't care. A great piece of advice came to me one time. There's three types of people in the world, Jim: those who know you and love you, those who will get to know you and like you, and
Yeah.
those who will never know you and never like you. Waste no time with
Yeah.
group number three.
Yeah. No, I hear you, and that
There are
applies
people that
to
don't like you, Jim. They thought
the
you were pugnacious and went after Donald Trump in the room just to grab
yeah.
attention and fight with him for no reason or sometimes. And, I'm sure there are people that'll say, screw Jim Acosta forever. That guy is just, looking to take down
That's
the
true.
MAGA hates you.
Yeah. They do. No, it's there's no question about it.
And everybody from every group, there's a little group of everybody's who maybe hate me, but when they get to know me, they like me.
Yeah. And Billy, one of the reasons why I thought it'd be interesting to talk to you is because of the Epstein business that we're seeing in Washington right now. And do you feel when you had looking back at the Access Hollywood experience, that you sort of had a sneak preview of coming attractions that maybe you didn't see it at the moment, register it at the moment, as you were saying a few moments ago, but this is somebody this is somebody who was sued by E. Jean Carroll. This is somebody
And
who,
by the way, in the E. Jean Carroll deposition, he doubled down. He was like, "Yeah,
yeah,
sometimes you are that famous. You can just, start kissing them and do whatever." He said it in the deposition.
I, I mean, does this Epstein stuff shock you now? Thinking about what took place back when
Well, I just
you
wonder
and him
why
back in 2005.
The Epstein thing to me is like, why is this such a thing? Like, if you're not in there, sir, which of course, both Kash Patel and Pam Bondi have said, we've looked and there's, the president's not in there. Well, why do you care? Who are you protecting then? Prince Andrew? We already know he was there, but who else are we protecting and why? Because it seems to be bipartisan protection, at least. I mean, all the way through the Biden administration, they had the Epstein files. What didn't they do with why didn't they let them out? Why doesn't everyone let them out? Who cares about? But it seems to be like the names on there must be names that both parties don't want out. That blows my mind because I thought
Yeah.
everything was fair game when it came to war between these two parties today.
Well, because the Access Hollywood tape happened, 3 years after I think he said to the New York Magazine, excuse me, that he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and he said Jeffrey Epstein liked his women on the younger side. And so I kind of wonder, in this moment, whether he was exhibiting some pretty disturbing behavior back then. I mean, I don't know. We don't know. We just don't know.
I don't remember, him commenting on Epstein then. I was
Yeah.
just doing, my Access Hollywood job. So I mean, Epstein wasn't even on my radar. I didn't
Yeah.
until later. So I didn't pay any attention to it. I couldn't connect the two events at all. I knew Trump very well. I hosted a million pageants for him. I was with him 3 days a week. My job at NBC was to get headlines from Donald Trump because whatever the story was, if it was Kim Kardashian or Rosie O'Donnell or whatever, Trump always had something to say, right? I mean,
Yeah.
every other celebrity has a publicist who's the gatekeeper and guarding, and Trump just
And
does what he does. So they wanted headlines. Get him to comment on Michael Jackson, get on his trial. Get him to comment on everything. So I was actually really good at it. I knew how to say, okay, hey, I'll come up to Trump Tower, I'll do this. And I had a shorthand, I could get there. And so I guess, at some point you have to say also, boy, he did his job really well. I mean, I knew how to bring out the real person. And if people want to say that I'm a terrible person for being in that room and not doing more in this situation, then good for you, you high and mighty person, you
Well, I mean,
self-righteous warrior. Good for you.
but Billy, I mean, is it being high and mighty? I mean, I mean,
No, it's just getting pissed off that he got away with it. So you're mad at me? Like,
yeah.
come on, give me a break.
I mean, but you're going to have the folks who say, you had your shot in that moment to tell him,
Jim, I
stop
appreciate you
acting like a
doing your
piece of shit. You're acting like a piece of shit. I guess you would have been fired. You would have been thrown out. I don't know. But I mean,
I don't
you
know,
did have that
Jim, I
moment.
love you.
Yeah.
Jim, I love you, and I know you're doing your job because I can see the comments rolling in there, and they're like, Jim, you got to hold them account. You got to do it. But Jim, if you and I were offline right now, I don't think you'd be going too hard at me because I think it was a shit situation to be in, a very
Yeah.
shitty situation to be in. I don't choose what words come at me, what happens. I am there to get an interview with him, set up do a shoot with him, and you do the best you can when something comes. All right.
Yeah.
The fact that NBC News leaked this in an election, a supposedly neutral news organization leaks this to try and affect a presidential election, has never been accounted for. That's an interesting thing. Billy
You think that
Bush
they
has
leaked
had
it
a
to
lot of pain.
you think they leaked it to affect the
Jim,
presidential election?
Jim, Jim, let me finish. Billy Bush has had a lot of punishment. He's had a lot of pain. He's had a lot of therapy. He's done a lot of things in his life. He's picked his ass up and gotten going. No one else has been accountable for that at all. Not the people who leaked the tape and not the man who did all the talking.
Yeah. But you were saying that you think NBC did this to affect the presidential election. I mean,
Of
you know,
course. What do you mean?
they were
What do you mean?
sitting
Put
on
this
video
thing
that
out.
was
Get
very
this piece of
newsworthy. Yeah.
It's newsworthy for sure, but they're scouring every which way they can to get him. And this is not the beginning. I mean, there was an APB throughout the entire network to all divisions. Uh, I ask you, Jim, had they found something like that about Hillary Clinton or something really terrible about Hillary Clinton,
Oh,
would they have
absolutely.
done the same thing?
I mean, I think
Did 60 Minutes give a puffball interview about the Hunter Biden laptop to Joe Biden so they could, did they? They were
Billy,
definitely in protection mode. I know that's
why are
true.
we talking about the Hunter Biden laptop? I
Well,
mean,
I'm just saying the
I
networks
think if any
are.
network had damaging information on Hillary Clinton, they would have reported on it. I think that that's
I don't
what would
think
have
so. Not
happened.
with the same fervor, but we can disagree there.
Yeah. So, I mean, are you a Trump supporter?
No, I'm not a Trump supporter in any way. I've never voted for him once in my life. And that said,
What do
I
you
have
think of
voted.
him?
Uh, well, I think he is. I wish, like I said in this most recent thing, like the Charlie Kirk, memorial. I see him and I said, why can you not just use the magnetism you have, whether you like him or not?
Yeah.
Why can't you just bring people together for 1 minute? He's terrible in times of grief and, and sorrow and inability to just invite Democratic leaders to the White House, have a
Yeah.
break bread, say, God, isn't this
But he's
awful
not that
together?
guy.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I grew up
yeah.
with George H.W. Bush is my uncle. Okay. This is the Tip O'Neill, Ron Reagan issue, era where people would fight all day and debate hard, but then they would kick back and, have a drink together and tip how your kids and how was everything. That civility I wish was here. And he has no ability to strike the notes that a real leader needs to strike.
And you don't think at some point, or you wish if you could go back in a time machine and say, if you could have come out in 2016 and said, yep, that happened. He was acting like a son of a bitch.
Oh, I wish I had given the chance to go on the air. It came out on a Friday, so they had
Yeah.
the whole weekend to freak out. 6 months after it was done, the president and general manager of NBC News, Noah Oppenheim, called me and said, "If you never speak to me again, I'll understand. I'm so sorry. We acted so quickly." And I said, "Okay, if it had come out on a Thursday, Jim, I would have been on the air Friday morning. I would have been able to explain what happened." They actually gave me an opportunity to I remember Andy Lack, the chairman of NBC News, said, "So what do you want to do about this thing?" I said, "What do I want to do? I mean, the guy didn't know we were recording. I've never heard this thing myself. It's
Yeah.
been in a drawer, somebody's drawer forever. Like, what do I want to do? I don't want to do anything." And he's like, and I remember Noah saying, "Well, these things, they just have a way of coming out." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, okay. Well, I don't know." And the only reason why they leaked it to the Washington Post is because it's a dual consent state, California, where it was
I guess
filmed.
my question is when that video comes
Sorry, was
out.
that inconvenient? What?
No, no, I'm saying when the video comes out, you've been exposed as being in the middle of all of this. Why not come out in that moment and say, "Yeah, the guy was acting like a scumbag, and he has no
I
business being
have.
president of the United States."
I have on millions of occasions. What he said was pretty horrible, but I also
Yeah,
didn't take it seriously. I've had women who are great A-list actresses, say things that are inappropriate with me
yeah,
before, going on camera. I'm not going to go reprimand Julia Roberts. To me, he was another, celebrity that we had on our show. I've heard all kinds of things. If I thought he was serious, Jim, I would have called the FBI.
yeah. But in hindsight, I mean, all of these women who have said that he assaulted them, the allegations you mentioned that you had worked with him on some pageants. There are allegations about lewd behavior at pageants.
Jim, I don't know. He's got
Yeah,
a long history. I'm sure he's done all kinds of things. I don't know, but I've,
yeah.
I've definitely engaged you long enough on this topic.
Well, I appreciate the time, and so now you're up on Substack.
Someone
What's the
said right
future
there's a
hold?
comment. You knew he was serious, Billy. No, I didn't, because I'm a man who doesn't think that way. I have three daughters. Someone says something like that to me, and they're a big star, and we're doing our thing. I'm a young guy at the time. It's 20 years ago. I laugh that off. I get out of it. Okay, whatever, crazy man. Back on with the show we're doing.
Yeah,
If I didn't police it enough, and I'm telling you, you think I thought he was serious saying something like that? What asshole says something like that? In my mind, I could never possibly. I don't think that way. I wasn't raised
yeah.
that way to think
But
that
now
someone.
looking back, I mean, look at the sick stuff that he says now.
Read the
That's my
article.
point.
You want to
Yeah,
talk about the women, the other women? Read the article I wrote in the New York Times, December of 2017. It's a New York Times op-ed. Look it up, and then
yeah,
get over it.
yeah. Billy, I appreciate the time, man, and I I understand that people they have these things that blow up in their lives, and you've got to try to make the most of the pieces that you pick up and try to put back together again. I mean, how are you doing all these years later? I mean, I
Oh,
know it
great.
ain't easy. It's not easy.
Jim, I just went through a psilocybin journey
I
2
know.
weeks ago, and it's better than any therapist I've ever had in my life. I fired my shrink right on the spot. I did a psilocybin journey. I found myself in there confronting, having experiences with my father, my mother, believe it or not, Andy Lack of NBC News, all the people I needed to. And the follow up work from that, and what I take away is keep 2 feet in the future. I'm entertaining you for one reason, Jim, and that is to pig off some of your subscribers. I don't think I'll get many, but I'm new on Substack, and that's why I'm here. I am swore never to go back on this topic again, but you are the mighty Jim Acosta, and you have a large following, and I
I
want some of it.
I gotta ask you. I gotta ask you about it. Um, and I think that the American people still have questions about it. And I think
I
that
don't think
this
they do, Jim.
moment, this Access Hollywood moment, was a
Jim, I
sign of
don't think
things
they
to
do.
come. Yeah,
Jim, I don't think anyone has questions about it anymore.
yeah,
It's been dealt with, Jim. It was 9 years ago. 9.
yeah,
And he has lost. He won an election. He lost one. He won another one. They don't have questions about it. It's just that thing. And if you can ask about
yeah.
it, you do. And
I hear you.
I get it.
Yeah. All
Oh,
right. Well,
Cheryl. Oh, yes, we do. There we go. Let's read these questions. No questions. Be kind to yourself, Billy. Don't let people get to you here. Oh, okay. Thank you. There we go. Now I'm up. With each comment, I go up and then I go down. Beating a
yeah,
dead horse, Jim. Oh, one of your followers said you're beating a dead horse, Jim. Here we go. You're still
yeah,
whining. I'm not whining. I'm answering Jim's questions. I told Jim I'd rather not talk about it, but Jim has to. Let's go. Keep going here. Part of the record. Here we go.
It's
There you go.
interesting. I mean,
Move, Billy. Go. Oh, Billy's now trending. I'm going up, Jim. Wait a minute. This is great.
Billy, I hope we could do this again soon. Thanks for doing it, man. I had to ask these questions and, listen, I get it. I get where you're coming from in terms of, you'd like to move on, but there's a lot of folks who see the guy in the Oval Office, they see the behavior, and you were a part of this
Yeah,
moment.
I don't like a lot of the behavior myself,
Yeah.
Jim. And
Yeah.
I have a vote, and I'm going to
Yeah.
use my vote responsibly. It's my
All
right.
All right. Thanks, Billy. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim.
All right.